Welcome to Vet S.O.S's Learning Lifeline. Remember, don't drown to see a transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline. Today, we're sitting down with April Blackmon Strange, director of the Lieutenant General William K. Jones Military Affiliated Student Center at the University of Kansas. A military brat and spouse with an MS in Mass Communications from Kansas State University, April has worked with the military and its family members throughout her career. April worked at Fort Riley, Kansas for nearly a decade, including as a public affairs community relations officer and as the founding director for the nonprofit USO, Fort Riley, where she built a center and created programs for the military community. Prior to joining the Lawrence campus in 2016, April served KU Medical Center's Community Engagement Communications Manager and led initiatives to make their campus more military friendly. Fantastic. How are you doing today, April?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I am. So I'm still kind of giggling about, our initial conversation where, you're a KSU grad working at KU. I'm sure every once in a while you have to have some sort of interaction based on that.
Of course, yes. I always say that I am a proud KU employee who happens to also bleed purple. But work at a great campus in a great school with a lot of fun people.
That's fantastic. Love hearing that. All right. So military spouse, um, military brat, right?
Mhm.
Um, is that what led you to want to work in higher ed supporting the military, or was there something else that kind of drew you into that world?
Yes, it was my experiences as a military brat. I graduated high school in Germany and had to wait to start school until January because couldn't get in-state tuition until my father got stationed back in the States. Um, so my first week of classes was quite interesting. I got inadvertently dropped from all of my classes because my scholarships from Germany ended up inadvertently in the International Student Services Office, and they weren't sure what to do with them. And then I got lost on campus during a snowstorm because I never had a chance to tour campus. So had to find a building, call my dad and say, I don't know where I'm at, come get me. Fast forward about a year, my dad, who's still on active duty, goes in for surgery and it goes haywire. He's paralyzed, lots of complications.
Mm.
So while my mom and brother went down to Brooke Army Medical Center in Texas, I volunteered at the age of 19 to stay home, take care of the house, pay bills, take care of the pets, and go to school. Fast forward a little bit after that, he's retiring, and the university pulls my in-state tuition because of the laws at the time. So I had to wheel my dad into the provost office crying, going, "No state will consider me a resident. Please don't do this to me." And thankfully, they granted me an exception of policy. I also became eligible for Chapter 35 education benefits and had to navigate those by myself. Thankfully, though, I was able to do that, and it led me to my master's degree. Um, about a decade after that, my then boyfriend comes home from a year-long deployment from Afghanistan, and within 45 days, we are engaged, PCSing to Fort Leavenworth, and I am starting a career away from the military world for the first time. Talk about some culture shock, being away from that military world. And I'm walking around the halls, feeling very lonely and just struggling with the transition of, this world that I've lived in my entire life. And I thought to myself, okay, I've got to be not the only person feeling this way. Let me see if there's other people out there. Let me find my people. So I started a military and veterans initiative. That led me to a committee on the Lawrence campus, and I found out that they were building a center and hiring a director. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the perfect blend of my personal and professional experiences. And I got lucky and they hired me.
Fantastic. It's great when, things just sort of line up like that. And, it's
Not a
definitely
plan, but
a,
yes.
and some of the best things happen that way, right? So that's just fantastic. It's quite the journey. Okay. So tell us about, um, the KU campus here. Like, how many military affiliated students are we talking about? Do you have a vet center? How's that vet center work? Et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. We have more than 2,300 military affiliated students, plus an additional couple hundred ROTC students, many of whom hold other military affiliated identities. That is the largest in KU's history. It's
Wow.
7.5% of KU's population, larger than our international student population, more than double our student athlete population, so a good chunk of our students. We do have a center on campus. It is a nearly 3,000 square foot space that has
Hmm.
variety of studying, homework spaces. We offer free homework printing, free coffee and snacks for students. A great place to find other students with similar backgrounds and identities and hang out, study in between classes. And of course, we have 3 full-time staff and over 12 work-study students who help students with everything from navigating their benefits. I also like to say that we're the door that knows the doors on campus. And we tell students, if you don't know where to start, even if it's not military related, come, see us. We're happy to help. I mean, I did run a USO, and that was kind of the USO thing, right? You show up. I need help. I don't even know the right questions to ask. So that's what we do there too, except for we don't have Girl Scout cookies or video games like a typical USO.
Oh man, yeah, they usually have a lot of that. So you don't have video games, which actually to me seems kind of odd with today's generation. Do you get requested a lot of requests to have some sort of station?
No, most of our students are in our space studying, relaxing in between classes, doing their homework. So, I mean, there might be some interest in that, but of course, that no one's ever really asked about that. I mean, we do have TVs with cable, but a lot of times they're off because, yeah, students are just they're there taking their academics seriously, which is great to hear. And then they
Absolutely.
do other things in their spare time.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. So what kind of activities, either as a center or as a university, are there for the veterans and the military connected community there on campus? Like what types of things are we doing here at KU?
Sure. Well, I'll talk a little bit more about what our center does. So, our mission is that we serve as a centralized resource for the military-affiliated community as they move to, through, and beyond the university. And that starts with prospective student visits. We're on the
Hmm.
official visit docket and receive a lot of visits from students so that they can ask questions well ahead of attending the university. We are at every new student orientation, providing one-on-one tailored support for our students with questions. A significant portion of what we do is, VA and TA benefits assistance. A couple of years ago, our office took over all VA processing and certifying. Before that, we were doing the customer service, but didn't have any of the authority to affect change and stuff. And so, after a lot of conversations with the registrar's office, we all felt that it was best to have both the customer service and the processing in the same space. So we've been able to do a lot of improvements for students to make that process as smooth as possible. As a matter of fact, when I do a lot of briefings with students and I say, okay, you're going to go through the VA benefits process at our school. You're going to ask yourself, is it really that easy? And the answer is yes, and that was intentional because we've got a couple of staff in our office who have used VA benefits before, and so we really want to just try to take that stress off of students and do as much behind the scenes as we can so that they can focus on their academics. We're also one of 104 campuses nationwide to have the VA's Vet Success on Campus program. So that places a full-time VA VR&E counselor in our space. So we've been able to exponentially grow our Chapter 31 Veterans Readiness and Employment users because of her presence. And of course, those students get that direct support, which has been quite helpful for them.
That's fantastic.
We have scholarships. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's just fantastic having that. Um, well, I'll leave my personal opinions with my experiences with VR&E out of it. But no, that's fantastic. That's there on campus.
Yes, we're quite fortunate for that. Um, we also have scholarships for military affiliated students. Last year, we gave out, thanks to generous donors, more than $190,000 in
Wow,
scholarships. Everything from book scholarships for our currently serving Guard and Reserve members or veterans when their GI Bill exceeds, or when their book costs exceed their GI Bill book allowance rate, to other scholarships. We have an emergency fund as well. We're part of the university's emergency aid network. So anytime a military affiliated student has an emergency, we've helped pay for flight tickets home when a family member has passed away. Somebody, their laptop dropped and broke, things like that we're able to help students with. We also do a series of events, including our annual KU Vets Day 5K, which has really become a university tradition. It runs through campus past all our war memorials and is a really fun time. It also serves as a fundraiser for us, our Student Veterans of America student organization, and our Veterans Alumni Network. And we also have other events like a welcome back meet and greet, an end of the year celebration, other activities during Veterans Day week, and then sometimes different things throughout the year as opportunities arise.
That's pretty cool. I mean, 5K is not really my speed, but it's it teach their own, right? Now, do you guys happen to do or do any of the sports do any kind of veteran event or anything like that? I've heard basketball and football both possibly doing stuff around Veterans Day, and just curious where KU stands on that.
Absolutely, yes. Our big sports have salute to service games, and then they also have salute to service recognitions before each game. So yeah, they do a lot of things. This year, normally football is during Veterans Day week, but this year it was earlier because our stadium has undergone some renovations. It's a World War I memorial, and so they were doing a rededication of the
Oh,
memorial plaza and decided to coincide the salute to service game during that week, which was a really nice event.
that's awesome. That is really cool. Okay, so we've talked quite a bit about KU, about the program, about what you guys are doing. Why, in your opinion, should potential students come to KU?
Well, there are a lot of great schools out there, for sure, and KU is one of them. I think it's important for students to think about their priorities, the support networks they have, what they're interested in studying, and what they want from a college experience. I highly recommend that students call up centers like ours and ask a ton of questions. Uh, and find a school that has helpful staff that makes you feel like you matter. And I think that's something we do well at KU. We do a lot of personalized and tailored responses and communications with our students because we know that while there are a lot of commonalities with our population, there are a significant number of differences as well. In fact, I also ask my team, I charge my team to ask themselves in every student interaction, is this course of action student-centric? And if the answer is yes, then you're on the right track. Um, and we get a lot of positive feedback from students and their families about how helpful and thorough we are in answering questions. And the ones that they ask and also the ones that they didn't think to ask, because, we've had a lot of experience in saying, okay, yeah, you're going to need to know this, but also this thing that you didn't ask about, you're going to need to know it as well. So here you go.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Any way we can make that whole process easier, I know personally I'm for, because it can be quite convoluted in some cases. So it's great to see that, you guys at KU are really making that effort to make this easy, make it inclusive, make everybody part of the family. And I think in my experiences with schools, that's just absolutely amazing, because some don't embrace that, and if you keep the student at the center of everything you do, it's hard to go wrong, right? So, all right. So,
Absolutely.
what's the best way, as we get ready to close here, what's the best way that people can get in touch with you or in touch with KU and find out more about the program?
Our websites are our best spot to do that. MASC, M-A-S-C .ku.edu. MASC is short for Military Affiliated Student Center. We try to put a lot of information on there for students so that it's transparent and they can make informed decisions. Of course, that website also provides our contact information. We do virtual, in-person, phone appointments, calls, email, all of that. Whatever students feel most comfortable reaching out to us, they can find all that information through the website.
Fantastic. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for joining us today, April. I think KU's running an outstanding program. I think it's a great option for those looking to pursue their higher education, and I really applaud what you're doing out there. I think that this is something special. So, wish you the best of luck. And on behalf of the Vet S.O.S family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. You can find Vet S.O.S podcasts on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube and social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe and follow Vet S.O.S so you don't miss a thing. And as always, remember, don't drown to see a transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline.